What's up, everyone? It's Thomas with Real Broker here in St. Augustine, Florida. And like we do every Wednesday, 8 p.m., I'm going to be going over the market stats, the news you need to know about if you think about buying, selling, or investing. And we're also going to do a Q&A. So if you're watching it live, you're watching the replay, go ahead and fire off those questions or comments below. And let me know. Let me know what you think about what we got going on here as well. Also, I want to know where you guys from. Where are you tuning in from? Are you living here locally? Are you thinking about moving here? What has you visiting our live stream today? Let us know in the comments below. We'll get started. And I'm sorry I know we had someone watching before, but I'm having some technical difficulties. I got a new laptop, so you're gonna have to bear with me as I go through all this new information on the laptop because I had to restart Google Chrome. So either way, guys, let's take a look at the MLS here now. And something that really interesting happened over this weekend where we actually hit above 7,000 listings. Now, if you guys have been following me for a while, then every week I tend to do these. And we've been hovering for a long time around 6,400 homes. And as we go into the fall winter months, we expect to see some seasonality come back to our market. Whereas the past couple of years, it's literally just been flat, like just transactions. Whereas, and we haven't had a lot of inventory. So there's been a lot of buyer demand and our inventory hasn't necessarily satisfied that. Now, we still have low inventory. This is still lower than the pre-pandemic levels of 2020, 2019. So we still have a long way to go. Really, when we're in that 9,000 to 10,000 home range, will we be considered in a balanced market, right? So we still have a good bit to go. So I imagine as we get through this winter month, we're going to see this go over 7,000, probably hover somewhere between like the 7,200 to 7,500 range till we get to the spring season, maybe even go up to 8. Who knows? And then spring season will start us off again into the prime home buying time. A lot of people aren't trying to buy a home around the holidays, right? So 6,936 homes. Let's take a look at this past week in real estate, and I'll maximize this so you can see it. So this is the hot sheet. So new listings to closed listings. Now, that's actually pretty significant from when we last covered it. It's about 1,150 new listings to 777 closed listings. So let's just say that's let's say that's 7 or 8 out of 12 homes. So there's 4 homes that are going to be left behind. So a good bit of homes staying on the market, whereas before it was almost a 1-for-1 ratio, right? So it was really like 1,100 new listings to 1,000 closed. So new listings to contract, we're going to group that together. It's going to be pending and contingent taking backup. So pending, we got 807, and contingent taking backup, we got 309. So right around a 1-for-1 for that. So everything that's new that's coming on the market, we have about the same amount of homes coming back off of the market by going under contract. And then we look at back on market. So that's when things fall out of contract for whatever reason. We got 268. So roughly, we're about in that same position. So we have about 1,000 homes going off the market with 1,142 new listings coming onto the market within the past week. Price changes outpacing new listings. We're seeing 1,464 price changes, which has been pretty much the story that you would see as new listings come on the market. You would expect these other listings to adjust. Also, interest rates have risen pretty drastically, which will lead us into our next news story here. But we'll get to that in just one second. If you have any questions about what's going on here in this market, obviously, you could take my information as a biased realtor, but I try to stay as unbiased as possible. I just want to give you guys the information to make a decision, right? It's up to you what you do. I'm not putting a gun to anyone's head. I don't want anyone to make a decision that they're going to regret. And I have my opinion on what's going to happen with the market just based off of everything that I look at, which is really a lot of data. And I'm really in this. I'm really learning as much as I can every single day. I'm a podcast junkie. I love it. It's very interesting to me. And this is why I do this kind of stuff too. So let's go ahead and look at the first news story, which is exactly what we just talked about, which is the interest rates raising. We're at 8%, guys, right? I didn't know if we'd get to that, but we're definitely there, right? The 30-year fixed mortgage rate just hit 8% for the first time since 2000 as Treasury yields soar. So the average rate on the popular 30-year fixed mortgage hit 8%. Yields on U.S. Treasuries are going higher, and higher mortgage rates have caused applications to plummet. So that's actually not a new that's not a new news story, right? Higher mortgage rates have been around for about a year now, right? But we were all expecting with higher mortgage rates, especially how quick they went up. I mean, we went from like a 3.5% rate to a now 8% rate, a little under a year and a half, I'd say. So a very, very quick time for this to change drastically. But last year around this time, we were about 7% interest rates. So interest rate hasn't changed that much in a year's time, but a year and 6 months has made a world of difference. And we've seen buyer demand fade because of the rapid raise of interest rates. Now, what we did see this past year is, everyone expected, realtors, loan officers, the consumers out there as well, with the rise in interest rates going up to, I think, 7.3% in October of last year, that we would see home prices correlate with that on the opposite direction, start to go down. And they just haven't gone up nearly as rapid. I think we are year over year down 1% as our market as a whole. But obviously, if you're a home buyer and you're waiting on the fence to kind of see how interest rates would affect the market, they really haven't much, right, in our area in terms of pricing. Now, I'm not saying because there's more demand. The demand has definitely taken a hit because every day people are priced out the more this goes up, right? That's not going to change. But the reason that we haven't seen that much change in pricing is because of our inventory, which I covered at the very beginning, right? We still don't have that much inventory on our market to be able to satisfy the demand, though it may be smaller compared to what it was, that still want to buy homes and are moving into our area. So I think it's really important to note 8% interest rates. That's definitely something that no one was expecting considering the beginning of the year. You can go back to one of these live streams and I'm like, man, if it hits 8, I don't know what's going to happen. It's going to be a buyer's market. Now I'm less confident about that because all of the data proves me wrong, unfortunately. So I want you guys to win out there. Unfortunately, I don't know if we're going to see that. So take a breath here, right? Let's talk about this. If you are looking to buy, you are using a mortgage. Now we're starting to see more inventory. A lot of experts are forecasting that 2024, we're going to see mortgage interest rates start to drop. We're also going to see inflation start to drop. It's an election year. Funky things happen during election years, regardless of what party, So we're probably going to see that interest rate drop because they're going to stop being aggressive, raising the federal funds rate, which the Fed has said they're going to do. That's a probably, right? We don't know 100%. No one knows. This is all speculation. So my point is that our market has remained in terms of pricing very strong, regardless of these high interest rates. So it shows that people still want to move here and have demand for our area. Now, if interest rates do go down to 5%, if they go down to 6%, all those buyers that got pushed off the fence in this past year, they're jumping right over the fence. They're getting back into the market because they're like, oh, 6%, this is a freaking steal compared to the 8%, right? And that's just something that people are going to feel because you're comparing apples to oranges. 6% is a way better rate than 8%. 4% is a way better rate than 6%, right? So I don't think we're going to get down that low. I think we're going to get to the 5 to 6 range. But like I said, I'm just listening to the experts in the market here, guys. And I'm doing my own independent research and kind of putting it all together and giving you my honest opinion. So just so you guys know, I also bought a house this past year. My interest rate's 7%. I'm expecting interest rates to go down and I want them to go down, right? Because then I can refinance, make my payment a little bit better, but I'm able to weather the storm of the difference in payment, right? If you can't do that, it's not a good time for you to buy a home, right? But if you can, then you have more opportunity. You have more homes available. You can weather the storm for the payment because if interest rates do hit 5, 6%, we're back in a market where we don't have homes. And that's just the reality of our market here. And that's not for every market out there, right? I'm just talking about northeastern Florida. We're seeing in Florida in general, we're seeing tons and tons of growth. So just be smart about it. Look at the market, talk to professionals, and get a good idea. So here to help. If you guys need any questions, fire them off in the comments below. Let me know where you're from. Love to be able to figure that out. And we'll head on to the next news story. I won't go too long. I feel like I go on rants. I'm sorry. But let's go on to the next news story here, guys. That's not it, of course. I'm literally this thing. I got a new laptop, guys. I'm so sorry. This is like how it works, right? Everything signs out and I think it would just have you all signed in through your tabs. But either way, let's go to this. So Homebuilder sentiment drops at 10-month low as mortgage rates soar. So builder sentiment dropped 4 points to 40 in October, and September's read was revised down 1 point. This marks the third straight monthly decline in builder confidence. 62% of builders reported offering sales incentives from all forms in October, up from 59% in September, and tied with the previous high for cycle set in December 2022. Now, I'd like to say something directly about this. 62% of builders reported offering sales incentives. I'm not sure. I mean, we had a pretty hot market, even regardless of the interest rates, right, guys? But every builder has been offering incentives, every single one. I can't think of one builder that has not been offering incentives. So I'm not sure exactly if that's polling nationally, where there's other markets where they don't need to offer any incentives. But for the past year, even during the trying times of COVID, they were at least paying some in closing costs at a minimum, and maybe there were some places that had such high demand they didn't need to do that. It might have been a handful, but most places were still offering to pay your closing costs through the pandemic. And today, the past year, seeing some crazy deal from new construction. So one thing I want to mention with that is there's tons of builders out there. If you are subject to an interest rate, you need to move. Tons of new construction opportunities out there. And here's why. And I have a video coming out, I think, later this week. But it's the end of the fiscal year for a lot of these builders, right? So they want to end the year as strong as they can. So they're willing to wheel and deal, right? End of the month, end of the quarter, right? We're getting towards the end of the fourth. Well, we're in the beginning of the fourth quarter, but we're getting towards the end of the fourth quarter, end of the fiscal year for a lot of builders. So they're willing to give more deals. On top of that, they're also aware of what's going on with these interest rates here. And a lot of these builders, I'll just talk about one, Lennar, they bought packages of loans prior to the interest rates going up. So they're still offering 5.5% interest rates. I've even seen where they're offering 4.99% interest rates on a lot of their new construction properties. And all of these builders have stuff that's going to be ready in, like, it's either ready now or it's ready in 2 months. And I'm not saying they have 20 homes to select, right? They may have 2 or 3 per builder that are going to be ready in the next 1 to 2 months. So, and one's just sitting ready. We're waiting for a buyer. And the incentives, I just went out shopping this past weekend with a cash buyer. The incentives that they were throwing at him, I mean, we're talking about a price drop from 760 to 680, right? That's a crazy price drop. Now, if you're getting a mortgage, they're going to do that on the interest rate essentially. So that kind of deal, right? Almost 80,000 in incentive, they're throwing at it for a mortgage. The interest rate buy down is pretty expensive, but they'll also pay your closing costs, which on a $700,000 home, that's going to be roughly $14,000 to $20,000. So that's a good clip. And then they might even throw in some extras, right? You want a ceiling fan, you want a screened-in porch, you want this, you want that. They'll wheel and deal a little bit today. So that's something that's really important. I think you guys should know about. If you have any questions about new construction, make sure you subscribe. I have a video coming out here pretty soon with some secrets, right? Some secrets that I just outlined. I mean, they're not secrets to me, but there might be secrets to you. So we'll take a look at that later. But guys, if you have any questions about what I covered in terms of new construction, in terms of mortgage rates, go ahead and fire them off below. Questions, engagement definitely help the algorithm get it out there. So if you're not, if you think it's a stupid question, I guarantee someone else is thinking about it, or just let me know where you're from. I mess this up all the time. It's inverted. There you go. Right over there. Also on top of that, guys, I do have a Facebook page as well. I'm working on changing the name, Memes of St. Augustine. I was trying to be funny, I guess, at one point. I also bought this page from Memes of St. Augustine, but I want to turn this into a forum where if you have questions about living in St. Augustine, you can go ahead and get them answered from someone aside from me. So go ahead and check out that page there. It'll also be in the details once we're done. So let me share my screen. We'll go on to the next news story. I appreciate you guys being here. Any questions, fire them off in the comments below. And let's go to the next one. Now, this one's actually something I'm pretty excited about. We're seeing more and more rooftop bars, which is something that wasn't a thing here at all up until like the past 2 years. So now we got Casa Reina, we have the winery that's been there for a while. I'm mistaken on that. We've had the winery that's been there for a while, but we got Casa Reina. We also have River and Fort, right? It's a great little rooftop that is right across the street. And now Chef Michael Lugo, who owns Michael's Steakhouse, which is in downtown St. Augustine, probably the best steakhouse in St. Augustine or North Florida. It's definitely in the competition. He's opened up a new restaurant on top of the 120-unit hotel that just opened in Villano Beach. It's called Pesca. And if they do fine dining really, really well. Super excited about this place, especially the location. You're going to have ocean views from there. So if you're hungry, go check out Pesca. I definitely will. But let's slide into the next news story here. And this is something I meant to cover this earlier. This is something I've covered on my live streams before. But many of you probably heard that DeSantis' ban on Chinese homeownership has affected buyers and real estate agents in 3 months in. Buyers are ditching home deals, while some brokers say they feel forced to racially profile people and turn down business, right? Now, if you don't know, essentially he passed a law saying that if you're related to some foreign enemy government, right? So we're talking about like Chinese, Russian specifically. If you're anyway related to them and you're buying next to a military outpost or some large, I think the wording they used was infrastructure. It essentially made it impossible for you to buy within a certain area, right? Because of the military bases surrounded, because of the infrastructure that was important. So they're saying if you're from one of those countries, you're not allowed to do that. My first concern with this, and one of the biggest things that they harp on us for as realtors is, our ethics, right? And how we're treating people, and we're not steering people a certain way. Like, oh, hey, if you're Chinese, you should live over in this neighborhood with all the Chinese. We're not supposed to do that. You're not. That's illegal, 100%. But now someone comes across my desk and they say, hey, I'm from China, or their last name's Chinese. I almost then have to ask, well, okay, well, are you from China? Like, so I then have to ask them a follow-up question that I normally wouldn't have to ask other people. And that's going to put a certain aspect into realtors' heads, because if this whole deal falls apart because it's not legal to do so, they're going to have to go and ask that extra question. Now, is it just a question? 100%. But it's also going to be a question that realtors have to put into their sellers' minds. And people aren't just up to date on all this kind of stuff, right? Like, this is important things. We have international buyers buying in Florida now, which, as you know, that's something that really wasn't a thing in the past, like comparatively to where it is today. And they're going to look at a contract from, let's just say, I'm throwing out random names here, but let's say it's a Chinese person, versus John Smith over here, right? And they're identical. And they choose John Smith just because they're like, I don't want to even potentially deal with that. Well, that's discrimination, right? Because you're just looking at their names and you can tell, okay, well, this is a John Smith, this is a white American or whatever, and this is a Chinese person over here. But because of the potential application of that law, I don't want to go with this person. So that aspect of it, I don't like. I understand, like, we got to protect our infrastructure, our military bases. And I think that we should reserve home ownership opportunities first and foremost for the people that live here in the country. But I don't necessarily agree with going about it this way. There's probably a million different ways. I don't know what's the best way. If you have a good idea how to handle this, let me know in the comments below. I'd love to know what you guys think, because for me, this just seems like something that should not even been put in law. It seems like it is racist. That's even a comment that someone says here, like her parents were going to come and buy a house in the same area as her. And she's like, it's great. I haven't seen them since pre-pandemic. And then they've canceled the contract. So, of course, I'll have that news story for you guys. If you have any questions about it, let me know. Let's see. We got a couple comments here. CB, I see you are very bullish on the growth in West Augustine. Do you think they will ever open up the ramp at CR 214? Yeah. So I am very bullish on. That would be awesome. It would be so awesome if they did that. So I'll pull this up here just so you can understand. Let me see Google Maps. Give me 1 second here. If that happened, that would be amazing, because it'd make it so much easier for me to get home. So essentially, County Road 214 is an extension of King Street. So, I'm not sharing my screen. Give me 1 second here, guys. But this is a great question, CB. Thank you for your question. So let's see. Share my screen. All right. Okay, so when he's saying you're very bullish on West Augustine, so I just bought a house over here. Note the little house right here in West Augustine. And I'm bullish on it for many reasons, but I can name like 5 businesses offhand that have just opened up here on West King Street. They're putting a parking garage and a potential railway station at the northern part of West King, right off of US 1. There's just a lot of things. Also, it's the most affordable place in St. Johns County for the most part. There's a couple other places that rival it. Either way, this County Road 214 crosses 95 right here, and there's no access to get on 95. So what CB is referring to is if they put an on-ramp here. Now 16 is seeing a ton of development right now. So I think that would be a fantastic addition. I'll stay on top of that, of course, if I hear anything about it. St. Johns County did just come out with an infrastructure map that you can actually look at things. So I'll do some research onto that. But as of right now, I don't think there's any plans. But there are also new construction homes back here, right? So they have Morgan's Cove, which put a YouTube buyer in there last year. They're happy there. They love it. Morgan's Cove, they have DR Horton and LGI homes starting in like the mid 300s. They also are building new construction over here, DR Horton and Lennar, St. Augustine Lake, and then Ravenswood right over here. Both new construction single family home communities going in right there. So West Augustine is growing like crazy. Every house on every street on every part of West Augustine has a new construction house on it. And I'm not exaggerating. I'm not embellishing the fact. It's a fact. You go anywhere in West Augustine, you see a new construction house on every single street. And it's all within the past like 2-3 years. So I think it's a great area. I would love if they open that up on 95 because that would get another exit for us and make it a little bit easier to get in and out of town. And we'll see what happens. We'll definitely see. They have a lot of development going on at 207 and State Road 16. So 207 is just south of County Road 214. But that's where like the best bet is. They're putting a whole bunch of car dealerships out there. 16, they're putting a hospital. They're building commercial and multifamily apartments right over there as well. So there's a lot of development happening. And I think that would be a welcome change. CB, do you live here in the area? Because I'd really like to know. Let me know. But I hope that answers your question. Guys, if you have any questions, go ahead and fire them off in the comments below. I'm here to help you guys. Here every Wednesday at 8 p.m. or I try to if my laptop works with me. But now I got a MacBook, so I shouldn't have those problems. Never buy a laptop that is a gaming laptop because they add all this bloatware on it. And it does not run like you'd think I could run video games off the wazoo, whatever. I'm not using my laptop for that. I'm using it for business. And it's like, it's terrible. It's just terrible. Just don't do it. Take my advice. But let me share my screen. I think we got one more news story here, guys. So if you do have any questions, let me know in the comments below. You're helping me out, helping spread the message of this channel. And this is something that I've talked about and I definitely love. St. Augustine Music Festival showed big impact during slow visitation period. So the Sing Out Loud Festival came. It's a month-long festival within St. Johns County and the city of St. Augustine, and they normally bring a pretty good act. They normally have that act at the amphitheater. Now, the amphitheater holds 4,500 people, but instead they had the big acts over at St. Francis Field, right? St. Francis Field can hold a lot more than that. I think it can hold up to like 20,000 people. They said for this event that they had 32,000 people come for both days, which is a good amount of people. The big thing here is that they've seen occupancy numbers go down. I just signed into this. What the heck? I'm sorry about this, guys. I can talk about this. I know what I'm talking about. So either way, they saw occupancy rates go down month over month. So it was like June, July, August all went down by like, I think it was like 5%, 7%, then 11%. And then September was pretty much like down 14% for the month. And then the Sing Out Loud Festival came and raised that back up to, I think, 74% occupancy for the hotels in the city, which is a big boost because September is the slow month. August is really when kids start going back to school where families aren't traveling as much. And that's really what St. Augustine thrives on. So September is typically called Locals Month because of how slow it is. We actually get to go out and enjoy the town a little bit because all the madness of summer is over. And then we're about to kick in to our other mad season, which starts in the middle of November. I think it's the middle of November. I think it's November 18th this year. Night of Lights begins. And then we have the holiday season where a lot of people come to our town. A lot of people want to see Night of Lights because I think National Geographic made it top 10 lights in the entire United States one year. So since then, it's been all downhill. So very, very interesting what's happening here with Sing Out Loud Festival. But that was a great festival. It was run extremely well. They had the Black Keys and Mumford & Sons playing there and a couple other people that I really wasn't too familiar with, but I'm a big Black Keys fan. And both of them played great sets. So it was a fantastic show. It was run extremely well. And I hope they do it again next year and make it bigger and better. because the city of St. Augustine needs stuff like that. And it was such a cool event. It was really, really done well. I mean, I've been to tons of music festivals, so it's kind of like something I like to do with my friends. So I think I have a good idea of what's going on with them, but it's good for the town, good for the local businesses, and it's good for me because I like to go have fun. So let me see. I think that was the last news story here, guys. Looks like CB gave us another comment here, blessed us. Been here since 1974 when US 1 had 2 traffic lights. Yeah, not anymore. Not anymore. It seems like they put up 2 traffic lights every time you turn around. I was just on A1A the other day, and they're putting up a traffic light at Matanzas Inlet. And realistically, it needs a traffic light, but you hate to see it regardless. There's so many people coming in and out of there, and it's like a 45 mile per hour. People go 60 too, of course, on a 45 mile per hour road. But there's so many people hanging out there and trying to get out. And of course, they're tourists. They don't know. They don't do everything, as fast as locals do, right? So I imagine they've had a good bit of accidents. But I saw the light go up there, and I was like, man, times are changing, and especially in that stretch of St. Augustine Beach, there's not many people out there outside of tourist season, but they need a light. They definitely did. Christian, what's up, man? Hope you're doing well. I'm glad you enjoyed the update. Good seeing you at the gym. You see my, no, I'm working with a personal trainer, guys. I'm getting there, I'm getting there. But also shout out to my buddy, Kane. He does, helps out all my clients pretty much with loans. He's my good friend here. He's actually a stud of a loan officer and a heck of a great guy. We call him the human Labrador because he's everyone's best friend. Like you talk to a wall. So if you need any mortgages, you need any real estate, guys, I'm here to help. Appreciate you being here tonight, guys. Looks like we have 7 people on, which is fantastic. If you have any questions about buying, selling, or investing here in Northeastern Florida, make sure you reach out to me directly and my team. We'd love to be able to help you out. Until next Wednesday at 8 p.m., guys, I'll see you then. Hope all is well. Be well. Oh, wait, no, next week I'm going to a wedding. Sorry, I won't be here. So maybe I'll come up another day. Oh, man, wait, we got Alejandro on here. Do you know anything about that? Take care, brother. Okay, so hey, Thomas, how are you doing? I read something about a potential sport complex near Shearwater. Do you know anything about that? Take care, brother. Yeah, I do. I don't know much about it. I do know Shearwater is they're going to be completing that road out to State Road 16, which is fantastic if you're asking me. Shearwater is a great master plan community. Alejandro just bought in there this year. And the problem is 210 has so much building on it that the traffic coming out of 210 right at the entrance to Shearwater is terrible. They're actually widening the road right now. But the only thing I know about your question here, Alejandro, is that I think Tim Tebow is somehow involved in bringing in I believe we're on the same page here. I could be speaking of something different, but bringing in a pro soccer team or something of that nature, training facility. I think it's a pro soccer training facility to the northwestern part of St. Johns County. I just saw a news story on that. I didn't look that much into it, but hopefully we're on the same page and that's what you're talking about. So yeah, hope you're doing well, brother. We're going to have a client party. I know we got rained out the last one, but we're going to have a good one for you for the holidays. So I'll definitely see you and I'll try and swing by in the meantime, either way. But guys, any other questions? Fire them off quick. I'll give you about 30 seconds. Boom. Okay. Alejandro, we're on the same page. Hope you're doing well, brother. So guys, yeah. Outro again. If you're looking to buy, sell, or invest in Northeastern Florida, let me know. Reach out to my team directly. Love to help. If you do have any additional questions, and if you don't want just my answers, go ahead and put a comment in this Facebook group here, right? You can just go ahead and throw a comment. People answer outside of me, right? And of course, I can answer. You can always reach out to me. But that's what I want this group to be, is kind of an outside resource, where you can have just people that live in town kind of give you their scoop on it. And yeah, so hopefully that's a good idea. Hope, sometimes locals can be mad. Like, don't say you're from like Jersey or California and you'll probably be okay. But either way, guys, hope you're having a great week. I will see you guys 2 Wednesdays from now. Next Wednesday, I will be in New York going to see Profetica Cultura, which is a Puerto Rican like reggae band. Very, very cool. Very good. Also seeing some family while I'm up there, seeing my buddy get married. So it's going to be a good time. Hope all is well, guys. Until next time, I'll see you.